Hey D&D fam, I'm Quick.
And I'm Lee, and you're listening to
Divas and Ducats. So what is a diva? I think divas get a bad rep, but to me, diva is all about the attitude.
As for ducats, it's your finances, your assets, Skrilla, guap, your coin. We're talking all things with the potential to affect your pockets.
And while we're attorneys by trade, we are divas by choice. Divas and Ducats is for edutainment purposes.
Y'all, we are not Series 511 or 703 professionals. This does not create a financial advisor or attorney-client relationship. The views expressed here are solely our opinions and the opinions of our guests.
It's just our opinion, y'all. Okay, divas, let's talk Ducats.
Hello, D&D fam. Welcome back.
Yes, welcome. If you are following us on YouTube right now and watching us on YouTube, we're going to ask you to hit that subscribe button below so you can be notified of episodes as they come out every other Thursday. What is going to be our topic today?
So we are actually talking about heart disease awareness. We have someone near and dear today, my mom.
Yay.
She actually is a, heart disease survivor. Is that what you're called?
We could go with that.
We'll go with that. Okay. So we're going to talk about her experience in a second, but Quick is going to introduce, we have a Boss Bae.
Yeah, so if you are following us in 2020, we had Boss Baes, and it was just a way of being able to highlight individuals, African American individuals that are in the community that are doing their thing, bossing up with their businesses. And so if you want to be a Boss Bae, you can go to the link in our bios with on Facebook and on Instagram. You can go to the link in our bios, submit to be a Boss Bae, and tell us why you would love to be sponsored or on Divas and Ducats and highlighted as a Boss Bae. So our Boss Bae today is Miss Brittany Brackett, and she is a voiceover talent, and she's such a Boss Bae that she has her own introduction. So we're going to let her introduce herself.
All right.
I need a commercial done for my product. Do you know anyone? Why choose Brittany at B Dynamic Productions? Because spreading your message truly matters to us. Professional voice talent Brittany Brackett brings 17 years of quality teleprompter, content creation, and copywriting experience to serve your marketing needs. Whether you're in need of a corporate spokesperson, audiobook narration, character voices, and cartoons, British accents, or African dialects, and commercial drafting, we can bring your ideas to life. Call Brittany at 864-350-1807. That's 864-350-1807. Let's create some magic and magnify your brand. BrittanyBrackett.com. That's BrittanyBrackett.com.
Okay. So,
we
also have a sponsor. Yeah, we got a sponsor. So we're sponsored this episode by Wooden Bowers Law Firm. So if you have been hurt on the job, in an accident, on someone else's property, give them a call. They could take care of all of your personal injury needs. Their phone number is 704-665-5838. Again, 704-665-5838. You can also go to their website. It is wvvlaw.com. That's W as in wooden, B as in boy, V as in Victor, law.com.
Yeah, they are amazing attorneys. We've definitely had one of them on as a guest last year. So we definitely suggest, like she said, if you have any personal injury issues, civil rights, they do civil rights, they do estate planning. If you are not subscribed to our newsletter, you can also go to our website and submit for the newsletter, and whenever we post the episode, there will be a hyperlink directly to them, so you don't have to try to remember, and there will also be the information in the link in the notes below.
All right, so let's get into it. Okay, so today we have Miss Murray. What should we call you?
You should call me mommy.
This is gonna be so
You should call me mommy.
Okay. So for everyone else,
And you can call me mom, too.
okay. So we have my mom, whatever you would like to call her. And she's here to talk about just her experience with heart disease and just her journey, recovery process. So before we get started, I guess just introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, I can do that. I'm Cynthia Murray. I'm Leandra's mom. And I'm married to Leandra's dad. And we have another son, Langston, who's in the military. And we have one granddaughter, little Ava. And I guess I'm actually from Maryland. I've been in North Carolina 30-some years. So I actually claim North Carolina, Charlotte, as home now. I'm still working, and I work out a lot. I stay active.
Yes, you do. You look amazing.
Well, thank you. I have some really good friends that I love to spend time with, so that's probably
Okay.
enough in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I like it. Mm-hmm. So you were, what year you did that all happen about the diagnosis? And then you could talk about leading up to the experience, but when, just for, I guess, time placement, when did this all happen that you realized that you had heart disease?
The episode happened in 2015, August of actually the actual symptoms started in June of 2015.
Okay. And so leading up to the experience of, I guess, before the procedure and the surgery, kind of tell us like what was happening. Like you said, you were active. What happened?
Sure. Okay. So I was running one morning. I was out running early one morning with my friend Joe, who we still tend to do quite a few things together. But we were running one morning, and it was in April, and just out of nowhere, I started to feel like a sort of a burning sensation in my throat after we got going for a while. And I had to stop. And I stopped, and I let it subside, and then we just continued the route and finished what we were doing, and immediately after the run, earlier that morning, or I should say later that morning, I just said that's not normal. So I actually called my doctor to get an appointment.
Good for you.
To find out what that was all about.
So, but when you stopped running, the symptom did go away.
It would subside. So now looking back, if you can think about it, when you have a blockage, your heart rate gets up and so all this blood is rushing, and all of a sudden, if you think about what's happening, there's nowhere for it to go. So now it's starting to burn, it's starting to pain you. And so when you think about what was happening, that's what was going on. It was all of a sudden there's nowhere for this blood to go, and it's starting to cause me pain. And then, you stop, your heart rate goes down, and things settle. And now things, in my mind, we're going back to normal. Okay, I can finish.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you went to the doctor, and what did they originally tell you?
So when I went to the doctor, again, this episode or this happened in April.
Okay.
So when I went to the doctor, he said, "Oh, it's pollen. It's allergies. It's pollen season. It's that's what it is." So again, go home, take some Mucinex, and you should be okay. So that was again in April, and that's what I was actually misdiagnosed at the time.
Okay.
And what color was your doctor? I'm just curious. I'm asking.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm asking.
Well, they were not African American. Okay. Is that what you?
Yeah, because we've had those conversations. I mean, to be frank, we've had those conversations in other episodes, specifically about the female OBGYN issues. So, and just being blown off. Lee has also talked about it in her situation. So I think it's important for people to know that, sometimes you can be misdiagnosed, and there are discrepancies and biases in the medical field.
I totally agree.
Yeah. So they misdiagnosed you. They said it was pollen, and you accepted that and went back to Zyrtec, or
you mean Mucinex?
It was Mucinex.
Mucinex.
Look, I take it all during spring time. Give me everything.
No. So at the time, just think about someone who's healthy. The last thing you're thinking is heart. And again, pollen season. It's like, okay, maybe that makes sense, But I think what's important is the fact that June, it was still happening. And that's when I went back and said, no, it's not. It's not allergy. First of all, I don't have allergies, but it's not the pollen that's causing this. There's something else.
So was it happening consistently between April and June, or like every time you worked out or every time you ran? Was it happening at other times?
It would happen. I can't say it happened every time I got out and ran, but it did happen because I can remember Joe saying, "Are you feeling that, Cynthia? Are you feeling that?" You know. So so it did happen more than, it happened several times. So I'll be the first to tell you, but it's by the grace of God that I'm here, because it just took so long to really get to the root of what was happening.
Right.
So then walk us through, we're at June of 2015. What was the next step once you went back and said, okay, this isn't allergies, this is continuing to happen?
Okay, so what happened then is, I guess the doctor said, okay, if it's not that, it's got to be, let's try this heart path.
Okay.
So you start off with a stress test. And after the stress test, I guess if that doesn't look favorable, that next process is the echocardiogram.
Okay.
Again, if that doesn't look favorable, then you go through this next process to see how severe or what's actually going on with the heart. So, not funny now, but at the time, I just never thought heart.
Right.
I just never thought that. And even when I went for the actual hospital to do the procedure to find out what was going on, I just happened to text my kids maybe the day before and say, "Oh, by the way, I have a little procedure. I have a procedure this morning, and I should be back home in a couple hours." And I did let my siblings know, but I said, "Don't tell Mom. Let's just find out what's going on, and we'll go from there." So again, I had gone through a stress test, gone through an echocardiogram, but still never thought heart to that magnitude. You know what I mean? And so when I went for that procedure that morning, they were going into, I think they were going in to put this dye in you to kind of see where's this obstruction, and that's when I went in on August 17th for this procedure, and it's like, "Oh, Miss Murray, you got a blockage. You're gonna have a heart surgery." And I was like, "Wait a minute, I got stuff to do,
Right.
This is not on my agenda today, So it was total shock. I mean, total shock.
So with the stress test and the echocardiogram, like, what do you do? Like, do they make you exercise? Is that how they?
So the stress test, again, it's a treadmill of some sort, and you exercise, yes, and you get on there, and they're actually taking a look at this rhythm. They're reading, I don't know how to read them, obviously, but that's what they're looking for. And then that echocardiogram is also like an ultrasound that looks at the rhythm and what's happening in the heart. So they I guess those two procedures give them enough to say, okay, we need to move forward.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So then what was the procedure you had?
So I had coronary artery bypass surgery.
Okay.
And it's where they actually take some a good blood vessel from another part of your body and actually attach it to the above and below the bad vessel, so that blood can continue to flow. So it's a bypass. They're repairing that your artery, so that if you think about a bypass highway, they're it's way around it to so that the blood could flow properly.
How long was the surgery?
3 hours. It's I think it was three hours. And then obviously anytime you're talking about heart surgery, it's major. It's major, and obviously you have to go through that whole what do you call it? Recovery.
Like the rehab.
That's another stage, but the recovery, and then I was in a room that day, and I actually was in the hospital about five days. But to be very honest with you, I felt like a case study because I was pretty healthy, and I was young in all practical purposes. I was 52, healthy, no signs of any, no diabetes, no cholesterol issues, just nothing like that. And it was just, where, how, what, and that may, to my doctor's defense, she's never
There's
been,
no way. Yeah.
I'm not going to go there first because, and again, I'm one that will every year get physicals for, all the preventive stuff I'm going to take care of. So, not to make excuses for that, but that was,
it does make sense.
Yeah, his cholesterol, nothing, never had any of those issues. So it was just genetics. I don't know, but I did feel like a case study because I think I shared with a few of my friends that, when I was in that in the hospital, I just had random cardiologists come to the room and just like ask me questions.
The same questions, I'm sure.
It was the same questions.
Right.
Can you tell me your name? And you go through that, and you're how old?
Right.
You just go through that. And I think it was just trying to, take a look at what could this,
how,
and what did we miss? Is there something else? And we mentioned obviously the same basic question, but there was always maybe one would say, do you, I don't know, do you eat red meat or something like that, and things like that. So, it was quite a journey.
So is there a family history of heart disease?
No, not heart disease.
Wow.
No, not at all. No.
Wow.
And not according to my grandma. Well, I mean, we don't know but so far back, but at least about 2 generations, no one had heart attacks or.
Yeah.
Wow. So with the surgery that you had, is that like the difference between like a triple bypass, double bypass? Is there?
There is a difference.
Okay.
2 versus 3.
Okay, and you had 1.
I had 2.
You had 2.
So I had double bypass.
Because of the top and bottom.
Yeah, well, because there was 2. I think there was 2 arteries that they had to, repair.
Gotcha.
And then there's people that have triple. There's people that have more than triple.
Okay.
Depending on how bad or how much damage.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, because I didn't know. I was like, I've heard them, and I was like, I didn't know if it was like the times they went in, like have to go in twice.
You don't know what you're doing. Yeah.
Cool.
So what surprised me during the whole situation, well, outside of her being like, I'm gonna get this procedure, and then she's in the hospital, but was just how quickly they wanted her to get up after the surgery. So like, what was that like? Because I would think when someone's had heart surgery, like, you're gonna be down for a bit, and it was almost immediate, like, no, you got to get going.
Yeah.
So like, what was that like for you?
So obviously the one thing for me was, am I going to go back to being me? Is this going to be, I just had heart surgery. Is this, what's normalcy going to look like? So when they were saying, Miss Murray, we need you up and moving, I was all over that. Yeah, okay, tell me what I need to do. And they had this little, I don't know, track. I wouldn't call it a track, but I looked at it as a track, and they wanted the patients to go around that, that hallway, once a day and the next day do it twice a day because, obviously there's a lot of trauma to the body when they actually go in and do that. So that part can be hard. But I was just determined, okay, you need me to do 1 lap. I'm going to do this 1 lap. So I had the will to want to heal, right? And I think about some of the patients who just didn't take care of themselves. That was tough.
Made a major difference.
It made you want me to do what? Walk around. But I will say, even when I got home, the doctor told me, I need you walking 2 miles in 2 weeks or 2 miles in 3 weeks. This sounded like, really? In my mind, I was like, okay, so I'm supposed to be at that point. If that's if that's sort of an expectation, then that's doable.
Was that based upon them knowing what you did before, or is that like?
I think it was just one of those, maybe a combination. I know that she's healthy, so she should be able to be at a point where she can walk.
Right.
He didn't say,
go sprint it.
Right. Right. But she should be able to have enough endurance to do a 2 mile walk in 2 to 3 weeks. So that was encouraging. The fact that, okay, I'm going to be up and moving. But it wasn't easy because I remember when I got home, I mean, your body, like I said, it's trauma. I remember telling Leandra, I said, man, Mommy's fighting for her life. I need you to do stuff. I mean, she had to put the milk in the glass because I couldn't even hold the gallon of milk. It was just tough, you know. But I realized I'm gonna get through this. You know, yeah.
And so, speaking of that, how did you feel like your support system was? Because, like you said, that is trauma, and I know you're in a 2-level home. Were you able to go walk back upstairs and sleep back upstairs? Okay.
Yeah, I was able to do all that. I mean, my support system, you know, like I said, my family, and I get, you know, a couple of very dear friends. And so, I mean, once they got off the floor from the shock of Cynthia just had open heart surgery.
Yeah.
I just had real good support. My mom flew down from Maryland and stayed with me for 2 weeks and took care of me. And
Nothing like mama, boy.
yeah, nothing like good old mama took care of me. And my brother flew in from Maryland just to lay eyes on me, and my other brother. I mean, my sister, all of them. They came just to see me. And once they saw me, realized I was fine. And you know, even my son. I think it was upsetting because it's like, okay, this is serious. But you know, once they realized I was up and moving and the hard part was over, I think it was just on, you know, just ready to go.
And you were able to hit that 2-mile goal in 2 to 3 weeks, or did it take a little longer? Or
you know, I never really calculated that, but I will tell you that I think to Leandra's point, once. And all the hospital networks have the cardiac rehab. And I was part of that Novant group. And what we did was once you get to a point where you're healthy enough to go through cardiac rehab, you know, they have, you know, a gym where you go and they monitor you. And basically it's to say, okay, you are now able to go and do this on your own without all the monitoring. And so my rehab started in October of that year, 2015.
Okay.
And I finished in December. And in February, my friend and I ran the Shamrock 10K in Moxville, North Carolina.
Insane.
We did.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Man.
Yeah, we did. 6 months later, we did.
Okay, 10K and 50s.
Keep it moving.
Right. Post heart surgery.
That's
right. That's really, really awesome. And so I mean, and I know we've talked about the fact that you were healthy before, but do you feel like being healthy saved your life?
I really do. I mean, my mom still struggles with anybody exercising and moving about because she thinks if you keep still, you know, you won't get hurt. You know?
Yeah, it's the opposite.
But you know, I do because I think about how I discovered what was happening. I mean, if I didn't get that heart rate up, I wouldn't have known that there was a blockage. You know, so I certainly agree that. And I also think being healthy or taking care of yourself helps with the recovery. Because again, if you're healthy, you don't have those other things that you're kind of dealing with.
Right.
So I definitely think that, and I, you know, once I got to a point where I could get back out there and work out, I continue to do that.
And I think I found that the thing that I found most sobering in the process was, I can't remember which one of her doctors said it, but most people who are not active or who are not healthy with that level of blockage, they just drop dead. And so I think, you know, as the child, when you hear that, it's like, you know what I mean? You kind of have to process that. But it is just, you know, people aren't just saying be healthy for the sake of a sound bite. Like, it really does make a difference in terms of your body being able to sustain. I mean, the amount of blockage she had and still her body being able to just endure on the deficit. Right. You know, so... Yeah.
But I think it's important that people, and you're absolutely right, because, I mean, the body's just like a machine. Eventually, it's going to wear down. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you've got to take care of what you have.
Right.
Because it's eventually not going to function the way that it was intended. You know, at some point, it just wears. But I think people, if I could tell them anything, you know, you have to listen to your body. You know, don't ignore. I mean, it really irks me when I hear people who don't get mammograms, who don't go get things checked because they don't want to know. And it's like, you have to know.
Right.
You have to know. I mean, because you can live. You have to know.
I think it's such an oxymoron when I hear people say that if I go to the doctor, they're going to tell me something wrong. Okay.
Well, we know something's wrong. We just need to know what it is.
Right.
Yeah, because something's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what's weird about that is when you think about people, if the car is making a noise, if there's an appliance in the house that's making a noise, they want it resolved.
Yeah.
And they want it resolved. Why? I don't want to get stranded. I don't want to lose the food in my refrigerator.
Right.
So there's a reason, there's a compelling reason why you do this. And I don't know why fear gets in the way
When it comes to
when
your
it comes
health.
to your health.
Right.
It just gets in the way. And so many times we just need to get over that and get the help we need. Because I know it's by the grace of God that I'm here, but
Right.
I say, because even from the time you think about it, the symptoms happened in April and I didn't really get relief until August.
Yeah.
So there's a few months in there.
Yeah.
And made it through.
Yeah. It just made me think about but for the grace of God, there go I, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when you was talking about, them saying like, your mama wouldn't have made it if she had been somebody else.
Well,
If
you
she had
think
been
about that. Yeah.
It's a major thing, and then kind of like your workouts now, you work out almost every day now. You do.
Every day.
You work out every week.
Well, I do.
Okay, we can go to every
I
week.
just want to be totally transparent.
Yeah.
Every
And
day is
is
like
strength
7
training,
days.
Do you strength training at
yes,
all?
Yes.
Yeah.
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 I think that's important. I mean, you don't have to do it to the level that others do it, but you've got to do it.
Yeah. Because you also, like you said, what you don't use, you lose, right?
That's
If
right.
you're not building your muscles and at least using them, you do get old and you get sore and
That's
you
exactly
get,
right.
So, did you have to change? Because I know you said you didn't have high cholesterol, so you obviously had a pretty good diet beforehand. Did you have to change anything or take anything out of your diet after the surgery?
Not from not a recommendation from the doctor.
Okay.
Now, what you obviously. You kind of learn. You go through nutrition, a nutritional training, and then you kind of
That was part of it as well.
part of the rehab is learning how to eat, learning, and again, but like red meat. I used to enjoy an occasional ribeye. I rarely will do that now, and it's not that, and it's because I know how bad. I knew how bad it was then.
Right.
But now have had going through the surgery, it's like, nah, I definitely don't want to put that in my body.
Right.
Yeah.
So nothing, and I don't like cheese. I don't add cheese to things where so many people do, but I just I just don't do that. I don't need to add cheese to a grilled chicken sandwich or add cheese to eggs. I'm just saying, I just you asked me a question and I was just saying.
Next question, please.
You like your cheesy egg?
I just eat a slice of cheese.
There's nothing wrong with that, but I'm just saying in terms of
It's
your
horrible.
diet, it's just you don't.
It is horrible
the,
for
the,
you.
the things that you just kind of choose my poison.
Yeah.
I'm not. I have a friend Kay who says, Cynthia, you don't eat to live, you live to eat. No, you don't. Did I say that?
You
right?
don't live to eat.
You don't live to eat. You eat to live. It's like you don't eat, but I do
Yeah.
eat. But it's
Yeah.
just I try not to eat a lot of junk.
Yeah. And I think, that's an important thought. Like she said it in jest, but a lot of people do eat in the opposite fashion,
Yeah.
right? There are plenty of people that probably have gone through this surgery and go right back to eating exactly what they eat. Like, it's just like,
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
when will enough be enough? Like, what do you need to
Yeah.
change the
Yeah.
dial?
That's
Because you
exactly
only
right.
have one body.
You only have one.
You only have one body, and it's not like a car. It's not replacement
No.
parts. You can go to the junkyard and
That's right.
piece together things. Now, thank God for donors. You could do those things, but
That's
again, those they still have to be healthy.
Still limited.
Right, there's
supply.
there's a
Exactly.
it is definitely a limited supply for sure. It's not something you can just keep going through.
Exactly.
So I think it's just very important what you tell people, like just to try to be your healthiest and do those checkups. Because unfortunately unfortunately I feel like in your situation you did your checkups, you did your annuals, your doctor was on it, he's looking at your records, you don't have high blood pressure, like. And it still happened,
It's who would have thunk it?
Right,
Yeah.
right. But that's an outlier.
Yeah.
It has to be, so for others, especially, with, like you said, this being American Heart Awareness Month, just go do your checks. Go do your checks. If you're feeling anything, flutters, don't just write them off. Oh, it's, it's just a butterfly.
Yeah.
Don't be fearful, like you said, of being able to find those things out, because early detection in most diseases are the key, right?
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And when people think, like you said, the fear, you do it for others. I mean, obviously, if you leave here, you're gone. But the ones that are remaining, you do it for them. So if you're, you don't. It's kind of hard to get that point across that you can't ignore that.
Yeah.
You just can't. I mean.
And what does that look like for you now? So now, do you just have yearly checkups, or is there like some extra kind of care? I know when we talked to Quick's mom, she was saying that she still has to go through some, her routine mammogram for breast cancer. But are there extra checks for you now, or is it just like your yearly?
It's just an annual. It's just to answer your question, there's no extra.
Okay.
It's just an annual checkup. But I honestly, when I first went through this, he said you do the stress test like every 5 years. And then when my 5th year, I was like, okay, can I get my stress test? And he's like, no, you don't have any. It sounds funny.
Right.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, well, you told me every 5 years. I mean, it's my 5th year. But again, it's you're feeding the doctor the information so he can diagnose you. So, Cynthia, you're out here, like you said, you're working out several days a week. You're not having any issues. Why are we doing a stress test?
Right.
But again, initially it's like, well, maybe make sure that blockage isn't, again.
Yeah.
No, but I don't have to do anything extra. Just, again, try to keep from doing those things that, could clog your arteries again. The fatty foods, the fried foods, all those things. And cheese.
And then okay, the cheese. I'm gonna cut out cheese for the rest of the week, just for you.
For the week. Okay, it's Friday. It's already Friday, right?
Saturday.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Got it.
Thank you. So generous. Generous.
And I do want to ask, like, do you have, like, I don't want to necessarily say fears, but concerns just because of the way that it happened? Because I know, like, when I talk to breast cancer patients, I'm thinking specifically about one of my friends, she started continually conquering, because it's like we're always conquering cancer. It's always in the back of your mind. Is it going to come back? Is it going to, do you have those thoughts at all?
I don't. Okay. I don't think about that. And I try to avoid looking on the internet to say, oh, how long does heart surgery last? I don't do those things because, again, God only knows.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And I just try to say, okay, I got a second chance. I've got these clean, my pipes are clean, and I'm just not going to clog them back up, right? And so I don't dwell on that. I just try to, because you just never know. I mean, now granted, I did ask about my kids, and he said, well, this is you may want to have them get things checked out around 40. Did I tell you that?
Yeah.
Okay. But again, that's not to frighten them,
right,
but it's to say, hey, by the way, this happened to my mom. And I know this is not about my dad, but her dad had a heart attack in February. And so again, now you had mom who had this, dad had a, so, are we passing something to our kids? Right. I don't know, but the idea is for them to understand that and to be the best that they can be and be healthy and
just be proactive.
Just be proactive. Yeah. You don't have to claim that, but you certainly can do your part.
Yeah, I think it moves it up a little bit. So similar to if you have a relative, or I guess like your mom, grandma had breast cancer, you get test mammograms earlier. I think we have to do it at 40 instead of like either 45 or 50. Okay. Is usually the recommended age anyway.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
And when you say like the recommended age, to do a stress test or to do?
Well, I think it's just awareness for that. Okay. So you again, the stress test, I don't know if a doctor's just going to do a stress
Right,
test
right,
just
right.
because you want one.
There's some kind of checks.
But
that they
if
can-
they're, I think that's about all they can do is just look at the rhythm and see something. But obviously, if some other things are happening, if you're having, you're able to do something today and tomorrow you're not. What happened? What's going on? As you get older, are you what's causing you to need blood pressure pill? It could be anything.
Right, right.
And if you're needing that would be a good time to say, you know what? This happened to my parents early. We want to keep an eye on it.
Right.
You may want to do that. I mean, but it's you kind of have to be the aggressor with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do remember when I was in the doctor, but I was actually having anxiety issues at the time. But they put, the little checks on my heart and everything, because I was like, oh my God, am I having a heart attack? Is something happening? I was like, well,
Just so dramatic.
Yeah. Were you having a heart
fine.
attack?
no.
Yeah. Now I was glad I didn't have a heart attack.
Yeah,
That's different.
yeah,
Heart attack does
It's more trauma.
trauma to the heart.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh, good. I think that was really great information. Did you have any other questions for Mom?
I do not. Do you want to stay for a diva letter?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for coming on.
Yes, we really appreciate you, especially giving this information, because, there's also that preconceived notion, misinformation that, only larger people are unhealthy, or if you're healthy, you don't have to worry about these kind of issues. Obviously, a lot of smaller frame people just believe because they're smaller frame that they're healthy. So just making sure that you are getting those checks. I've heard of more runners, it's just shocking to me how many runners just pass away from heart disease. So
Well, I was looking up the stats. It's the leading cause of death amongst the races, period.
wow,
Not just
in general.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So please make sure that you're going to go get your checks. We need you guys to be around for yourself, first and foremost, and definitely for your family. So what do we have next?
So today we have a Dear Diva letter. If you have questions, comments, shenanigans, you can email us. It is divaadvice@gmail.com, divaadvice@gmail.com. So today's letter goes: Dear Divas, my husband and I are working on our estate plan, and although I'm proud to have built a nice life and accumulated some things, I don't feel like I should have to leave an inheritance to his children. He has 3 children from previous relationships, and I have 1. His children are adults in their late 20s, and they've always been cordial and respectful, but there's no real relationship there. Their mothers are also living. My daughter is 12, and it has always been just her and me until she was about 4 when I met my now husband. My husband feels that we should make almost identical wills and leave the children similar or equal gifts, and he would include my daughter in his will, but I feel differently when it comes to my will, given their age and our non-existent relationship. What are your thoughts? Would you leave an inheritance to children who aren't yours? Should a relationship with them make a difference? Signed, Anonymous Diva. I'm going to defer to the people who have children first.
Goodness. So in my opinion, I do. Well, first, yes, of course. If I married a guy and he had kids, the natural response is, I'm going to treat those kids like they're my kids. That's taking the relationships out of it right now. So I have seen no problem whatsoever leaving stuff in your will to your spouse's children. Then she said that her daughter is now 12, and it was 4 when she started. So these other kids have also been in her life for 8 years.
But she said they like in their late 20s. So I guess they were like basically 20.
14.
Like they were. No, if you're like late 20s, that's what,
late 20s.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm thinking early. I'm thinking 20.
Yeah, no.
Okay, late 20s. Okay, they were
yeah.
adults. They out of the house.
Right.
Okay. So in that situation, thank you. So in that situation, and because you don't have a close relationship, while I think it's a hard conversation between the two of y'all, obviously, that's why you're writing in. I do completely understand not wanting to leave things to children that you don't have a relationship with, because that's kind of the part of building your inheritance and building your wealth, is to pass it on to people that you think are gonna, one, value it, and that have also hopefully kind of put some kind of, initially, now if you leave it into your parents and you think about your great grands that you ain't never met, that's different. But hopefully you're leaving it to people that kind of have worked some of that with you, or had some kind of connection with you and some kind of value with you. So I do understand not wanting to leave an inheritance to adults, grown adults, especially if they have not. I mean, you didn't say the relationship is bad, but you definitely said it's not good. So, that leaves a lot to be desired with adult children. But you have been with this guy for 8 years. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just really trying to figure out.
You're struggling?
I'm trying to figure out what would be in her will, that's hers. Like her house.
So I guess like they're married and it's kind of like, well, who goes first? So maybe she has some things separately or whatever. She's like, I'm not going to do that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about separate property that she had, or inheritance that she had, or whatever that she had before she even got into the marriage, I would naturally think that he would expect that to go to. Obviously, he doesn't, because again, that's why you're writing in. But I would think you would understand that would go to her daughter, because you worked for that for a while before you even got this man in your life. So yeah, that's really confusing to me. I mean, if it's stuff that y'all again got together, properties that y'all got together, why wouldn't it be to his children? Because it's together. But if you're talking about her own stuff, I mean, I'm sorry, that's her stuff to will away as she pleases. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. Mom?
Well, I think the operative word was relationship. I think if they are adult children, and if there was a relationship, I don't think there would be even a conversation,
right,
because they're now our children,
right?
And we're family. So I think that's what's broken. The fact that there's no relationship with her, so therefore she doesn't feel like, hey, I don't need to. I have no obligation or desire. Right. I'm going to make sure that my young child is taken care of. So I think that's the thing, because I think there's plenty of times when you bring in these families, what do you call them, blended,
Blended
that you
families,
do you form a bond, and we're all a family, and we you want to make sure that you're protecting them all, because you want them all to do well, and so I think that's the problem. There's no relationship with the adult children.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree. Outside of what y'all did together, because then it comes down to who dies first. I mean, that sounds really crass, but it's like, okay, if we share this home, then obviously if he passes first, he's going to leave whatever to the children and the wife or whatever. But if she passes first, so the shared things, it kind of, you don't want to say it's like a race for death, but it's kind of like it depends on who goes first in terms of, what goes down. I would hope, and I would trust, maybe I'm just benefit of the doubt, that if he went first, our reader would make sure his kids are good. But that's why you did a will, just in case they don't.
Adults, though.
What I'm just saying, like, if their dad passed first, I would hope, because most states the spouse gets the majority of whatever's.
You say if he dies without a will.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, because right now they don't have one.
Okay.
So they're trying to figure this out. So if he passed, I would hope in the interim that she makes sure the kids are okay. But I kind of agree with Quick's line of thinking.
Not.
I agree with the line of thinking of just whatever you had before, your 401k, your life insurance, that's for you to kind of, that might be where you take care of your baby separately. And then maybe the things you have together, maybe that can be a compromise. The things you have together, maybe talk about, okay, we could figure out some kind of what feels equal or what feels fair. But the things that you did before, in terms of like those or policies, that can be what you leave your daughter. That's my thought.
Yeah,
maybe that could be
I
like
think
a
that's
compromise.
completely fair. I mean, honestly, I don't see how you can argue it. I mean, he could do whatever he wants, but I don't see how you can argue against that. If you're saying that this is something we built together, she should have the expectation that something he also put sweat equity and he's going to want to leave to his children, like at some point in time. And then it also makes you think about, I mean, people just get a will. Like, y'all get a will, get a trust, especially these blended families. And protect yourselves, because like you said, if she dies first and, you know, he didn't will, that comes into the kids trying to move into the house.
But I think part of the problem is we can't agree on how to separate what we our possessions. So I think that's part of it.
Yeah. Just that would be my suggestion to you, to say, okay, well, whatever we've acquired together, then we can divvy that up, you know, to your kids or to our kids, depending on how much you've amassed. And then my stuff I will give to my daughter. Your stuff, you got to put that in there. He may not have had nothing, but just put it in there. It sounds better. Your stuff you can give to your kids.
Why do you have nothing?
I'm just saying. It's to me, it's really odd that he's coming for the stuff that she had before.
Oh, he was a homosexual?
He might have been. Why you want my stuff to go to your grown kids? It just make sense. So.
You know what, Diva? Let us know how it goes. DivaAdvice@gmail.com. Quick
and call Wood and Bowers.
Yes, call them. Because they can help you with this estate. Right. Do you have any tips?
Well, my tip then, of course, like I said before with the American Heart Awareness Month, is just to please go get your checks. Don't ignore problems with your health. They're not going to go away. They're only going to get worse. It's just the way the body works. It will sit you down if you don't go and do preventative maintenance on your body. So go get your checks.
Amen. All right, you all, that wraps up this week's episode. We will see you in a couple weeks. You can follow us on all the things. We're Divas and Ducats on Facebook and Instagram, www.divasandducats.com. Also, Quick has told you to subscribe, but if you have not already, go ahead and subscribe.
Hit the bell below.
And in the meantime, in between time,
have a great attitude.
All right, bye.